Hello and welcome to part 2, and thanks for being here. And if you have yet to listen to part 1, please take the time to do so. But hey, if you already have, thanks for hitting that next button to continue the listening. You're a cool kid. The humor hasn't left. So let's dive right in, shall we? How do we cope, eh? How do we cope with these anger triggers? Because coping with anger, or angry, whatever, coping with anger can be very challenging. So while managing the rocky waves and managing our triggers that bring up these emotions, man, losing my train of thought here. Woo! Comes with dystonia. I'm not worried about it. Like I said, shoe fits, wear it. So like I said, while we're managing these triggers and emotions, there are strategies we can do to help overcome the power that anger can take. So let's talk about these effective strategies for coping with anger. And these are the ones I like to practice for myself as well. So the first one I'd suggest is practicing mindfulness. Mindfulness techniques such as deep breathing, meditation, they can all help. Excuse me. As I said, this is just part of the dystonia. If you have dystonia, maybe you can relate. I have some speak issues sometimes, so just bear with me. Like I said, we're reaching for excellence, not perfection. All right, so these techniques can help us stay present and calm in our current moment and not allowing that anger or those feelings of frustrations. Like, have you ever noticed how it makes you feel? At least I can tell you how I feel. I can feel it. Basically, I feel like I'm really tense from the shoulder or from the chest up. Like everything's really tight, and I can only really feel anything from the chest up. I don't know if a lot of you can relate with that or not, because I've had anxiety all my life. I've had panic attacks all my life. And so I know that feeling of that panic. Whew, I gotta get rid of it here just a second. Just even thinking about it sometimes is a trigger for me. So big deep breath in and out. That's a perfect example for what I'm talking about. Triggers will happen at any time. Just me talking about panic made me panic a little bit. And maybe you felt that too. And if I did do that to you, I'm so sorry. Hopefully you were able to take a deep breath with me. But just keep practicing this mindfulness, because that really will help you stay in the moment. You know, just as I said, like just describing that almost gave me anxiety, but taking that deep breath allowed me to just go, I'm just explaining it. I'm not experiencing it. I'm explaining it. And there's a big difference. Big difference. In this moment, am I really experiencing panic? No. I'm just explaining it. And this is where I'm talking about this mindfulness technique. And find the one that works for you. There are so many out there. And I'll include them in my, again, if you don't have Instagram, I apologize for the inconvenience, but I post them in my stories. They're there in my highlights. I try to make them as most in my posts as well, but there are references there for you to practice mindfulness right now. I have posted meditations. If you look on the meditation highlight, you can find techniques I have personally found to help reduce my emotional reactivity to my anger triggers. And they can all be found there. Another technique I use is just brain dumping all my worries that I feel, whether it's in the morning, whether it's in the afternoon, whether it's in the evening. I just take 5 minutes and I just go, okay, I'm gonna just do 5 minutes. I write the time down. I go, weirdly, it's usually between 6 and 8 a.m. It's kind of interesting, my pattern I've noticed. So it's almost like immediately when I wake up, I have anxiety. So when I brain dump those worries out, boom, I feel so much better. And I know it's 5 minutes because, like I said, I timestamp it, and then I get to do a pattern analytic check on why this keeps happening. So it's another helpful technique. And you know when your time's up because you wrote the time down. You're like, oh, 5 minutes is up, perfect. Or I did a little over 5, perfect. And that's where you move. It has helped me a lot. And whether it's in your note page on your phone or in a journal, I would suggest just finding somewhere you can make a space for that. Make a space where you can dump it. And whether you need to go burn the letter or put it in recycling, trying to be eco-friendly here, but do something that will help you release those worries. Anything to help you just come back to that present moment. And that's ultimately practicing mindfulness. Second, engage in physical activity. And I know if you are having a hard time moving, or if you are unable to move, I've been there. I had used mobility aids. I've been stuck in bed, unable to move. I've had such bad dystonic storms, I haven't been able to move. I understand exercise is hard for some of us. And the reason I want to bring up engaging in physical activity, because it is very, very important, especially just being a personal trainer, being a corrective exercise specialist. I know how important it is for our bodies, not only just to help release the stress. Like I said before, our bodies are keeping the score. So as a personal trainer, corrective exercise specialist, I can tell you what happens is our bodies can keep this tension and our muscles will stay tense, which is not good for anyone. And physical activity helps relieve the tension in those muscles. I know it sounds counterintuitive, but that's actually what happens. Have you ever noticed when you're working out, some emotions will come up, or you're like, you end up crying after your workout, or maybe during the workout? I know it's happened to me, but, or maybe you just feel like $1 million after you worked out. That's because the tension in your body physically left. It had a place to go. So, if you're unable to move, don't take society's normal activities of moving to heart. That's the biggest thing I can say here. When I was unable to move, and this crushed me when I was, I went from being able to work out 2-3 times a day and work out with training clients and things like that, to not being able to move. I may not know your circumstance. I may not know everything, but I do know that feeling, that loss of identity of, oh my God, I was able to move yesterday and now I can't. It's a awful, awful feeling, and I don't wish that on a single humanoid, a single animal, anything, insect, plant, anything, because it's an awful feeling to feel. But I do want to give you some hope here. There are small exercises you can do to make sure this tension doesn't keep building up, especially in the fascia, which is in our muscles. If the tension builds up, I promise the chronic pain is going to get worse. I know the exercises, I know that they hurt. I know that sometimes afterwards we hurt worse than we felt before working out, but it is a better chance to take than to let the tension continue to build. And it's why I'm kind of taking a little longer time talking about this step 2 of engaging in physical activity. Because I know what it's like to not be able to move. And you have to move at your own pace. I want to give you an example of when I was in bed and I was not able to move. The only things I honestly did were leg lifts and arm lifts. Arm circles. I would lay on my side, lift my leg up on the side. It hurt. I'm not telling you it. I mean, I was screaming in pain in some of these. Like, it really actually physically hurt to move my body in these movements. Just in bed with no tension, no nothing, just my own body lifting one leg up, probably weighs 16 pounds for F's sake, and I couldn't even lift it up. But just the small movements helped relieve the pain in other areas. And I do know this just from my corrective exercise expertise, because the more we allow, I have a movement disorder which makes me twist. So I have, just give you the lowdown of it. My upper core is overactive, as is my left shoulder and pec. It moves in, so it pulls on my bicep, and then my lat and tricep are completely affected. And sorry, layman terms, my back is affected because it's getting pulled in this uncomfortable position. So corrective exercise wise, doing my arm circles and my lifts, or any of those, it was helping ease my spine to a neutral position. So my body knew, hey, I'm trying to take care of you the best I can. I know you can't do this. I know we're painful, but we got to keep our spine as straight as possible. And that's what I did, and it helped. I mean, I'm not going to lie, that the medical journey I took helped me get here as well, but the holistic exercises I took helped me get rid of my aids, my mobility aids. They really did, because I learned how to overcorrect my back, and which was just pulling me forward, and I couldn't even walk up straight. I could barely take steps. So doing these small movements over time relieved the stress in my body from my own disease, and allowed me to release the anger I felt from getting this disease as well, because I finally slowly got my life back. So I just want to give you hope that if you can't move in these times, find small movements. You know what? Actually, I want to give a shout out to, again, Instagram, Actively Immune. I'll make sure to post one of her posts in my stories, and you guys can go to workouts in my highlights and find it, because Actively Immune, I believe, is her Instagram name. And if I'm right, her name is also Zoe, and she has the most inspiring content. She can show how exercise can be effective right from the bed, and she shows how these small movements are effective. I would highly suggest supporting her, following her. She has great posts about everything in between for those of us who deal with these issues, just small movements to the painful movements. Like I said, I know how hard it can be to function sometimes, and moving can be painful just to function. But she has some great exercise tips on how to get back to being normal, even though you don't feel normal. And she herself deals with chronic illness, so she can relate on our level. So I just want you to know that there's support here. There's support for you, and I have support on my profiles. And again, if you need help and you can't access this, please reach out to me. I do not mind helping, okay? Please do so, especially if I can help you heal in any way. What harm is it going to be if you reach out to me? Because I'm going to love helping you. So please don't feel like you're going to be a bother, okay? You're not a bother at all. You're worthy of this information, and you're worthy of knowing how to take the next step, okay? So I'm here for that. And as I said, go follow Actively Immune. She's got great content. She'll help you with that too, I'm sure. I believe that's what she focuses on the most in her career. So, but I just stretch for 5 minutes now every day, and it helps tremendously in relieving any tension I feel. So if you can find just 5 minutes, 2 minutes to just maybe a couple leg lifts, 5 arm raises, anything to help you move in a small way. Don't let society norms of working out bring you down. Exercise can be as simple as raising your arms 10 times and moving your neck 10 times, doing neck circles 10 times, and that could be your movement for today. Why can't that be enough? I say it is enough. And And if you want to lose weight, then you just have to take the steps to do that. But if you're just looking to maintain and to get rid of this anger, and all you have to do is a couple stretches and you'll find the relief. I promise. I promise. And you deserve that relief. And I promise that this will help you get there. And if we help each other, we can all deserve the lives that we all want to live. So, boom. Rant over about the workouts. So in part 2, I said, seeks professional support. I also suggest seeking social support. So maybe you can't feel like, or maybe you feel like you can't afford a therapist, or that's just not in your wheelhouse right now. And that's okay. Maybe just finding a social support, or as I've said before, our 5 network, or the little spider web of 5, or 5 people that make us feel the best. And if you don't have those people, go find those people. There's support groups out there. And again, I know this isn't easy when we're constantly looking up doctor after doctor after doctor. I self-diagnosed myself. I've done all the research myself. I don't think a single doctor has done anything that I haven't done myself. I feel like I could call myself a doctor now for how much I've done myself on how to treat and cure my disease with my holistic and medical approaches, and just letting the doctors know. So, excuse me. So seeking social support in your network is very key, because you're gonna need that support when you have to go, like I said, have to stand up for yourself in these doctor's appointments or things like that. Talking to a trusted friend, or as I suggested, a therapist, is always going to be a healthy outlet for our anger. And it's going to help us gain an outside perspective, and especially on our emotions. It's going to help us decide, what emotions are really ours. Sometimes not every emotion is ours. Sometimes it's other people's. Especially if you're an empath like me, we are keen to picking up people's emotions. So just be aware of what's yours and what's not. And like I said before, try to find those people. If you don't have 5 yet, that's okay. That's okay. Just try to find 5. Try to find a support group or things like that. And that's where I was referencing my doctors and looping that back in. I know it's a lot of work to continuing diagnosing yourself and figuring out how to heal yourself and all that. But that's why I'm here, okay? I'm here to help you along that journey, to let you know you're not alone. So if you need someone to talk to, you needed someone, I'm here. I hope you can view me as someone trusting to help you provide that healthy outlet to express your anger or anything you might feel frustrated about. I know it's not the social norm, because you think, oh, I'm being negative. Well, if we don't be negative, how are we going to be positive? We can't keep telling ourselves, oh, I don't want to pull anyone down with my negativity. Well, if we have that right social support, we're not going to pull anyone down, because our friends are going to be there, our loved ones are going to be there for who we are and how we are. And we're going to have that trust to be able to even express those emotions to begin with. So I hope you can find that, and I hope you can find that at least on my page, or you can feel confident enough to hopefully reach out to me. I'm here for you. And our 4th step, practicing our relaxation techniques. And I mentioned this in part 1, where I've done, I'll take my right hand and I will grab my left wrist, and I will just rub the inner part of my left wrist, like near my palm. So just take my 3 fingers and I rub right there, just that inner part, where you can find your heartbeat. So that's a relaxation, that's a relaxation technique I personally use, but I also do yoga. I do 5 minutes of yoga, and anything to get our muscles to relax. Maybe it's a bath with Epsom salt, something that helps get that stress and tension to reduce in our bodies, to promote a sense of calm and relaxation. Anything you can find, romanticize your life in any way to make yourself relax. I personally found that I enjoy having flowers near my bed. It helps me relax. And just smelling them makes me feel like I'm closer to being outside, even though I have bad days and I'm stuck inside. And and I also want to give this person a shout out. Molly from Sunflower Soul Healing posts amazing full Reiki sessions on YouTube. I will also post that on my Instagram highlights. If you click on meditations, they'll be there for you. And obviously give her a follow because she's the one doing them, but she deserves the follow. She is amazing. And her calming technique, she posts 2-hour Reiki sessions on YouTube, and I'll put them on the background sometimes. Oh my gosh, how much relief I feel. It's incredible. And so I would highly suggest giving her a follow if you're looking for a new mindfulness relaxation practice to take on, because listening to her in the background of even working will help you immensely. And our last one is positive self-talk. I cannot preach this one enough. This is a big, big, big one. Focus on how you're talking to yourself. I know last episode I said, would you treat a stranger or a loved one as hard as you're treating yourself? And obviously, I hope the answer is no, because you don't deserve that. So I really hope you're not doing that, because the answer is no. And you deserve to feel amazing. You are a badass. You're fearless. You are incredible just as you are. There's nothing you need to change right now. And that's positive self-talk. And that's reframing your thoughts and your emotions in a more positive light. And doing so is going to reduce our anger. It's going to promote a sense of inner peace, because we're going to wake up more and we're going to be like, I am awesome. I'm not going to let anything pull me down. Not a single thing. You pour on and I'll keep enduring. Bring it. That's where you can look yourself in the mirror and keep telling yourself day after day after day, I'm awesome. I'm awesome. And not every day you're going to be able to do it. Don't think every day you're going to be able to have this self-talk, because like I said, you have to have the dark to know when you're in the light. So if you don't have a bad day, how are you going to know you're in the light? So recognize, like, if you have a bad day, hey, you know what? I'm having a bad day. Screw it. I'm gonna let these emotions take over today. And maybe they aren't positive. That's okay. We don't have to be positive all the time. That's an unrealistic expectation set up by society or social norms in which none of us can live up to. It's not fair for any of us to try to live up to that. So please just take that into light when you're working on your inner self. Because affirmations, as I was just saying, that you're worthy, you're capable, you're important, those are those affirmations, and any motivational quotes, even this podcast, for example, anything where you can reassure your self-worth and you're capable and worthy of this. And to give another shout out, a great is also it's also on my social accounts, is Silk and Sonder. Silk and Sonder has helped me immensely with my journey to healing. They give you affirmations each day. There's guided journaling prompts. There is there are daily rituals where you listen to her wise words of wisdom. Neha's words of wisdom, and she's the CEO. And that journal, I cannot tell you how much it has helped me, because it helps me keep on track. It's hard, like I said, it's hard to stay positive all the time. But when you have something reminding you, because it does have an app as well, app and a journal. And when you have something reminding you to tell yourself, hey, I need to talk better to myself. I need to be more positive. And when you put yourself in a community like that, it helps strengthen that and affirm that for yourself even more. And it really does help relieve the anger. And I hope with some of these tools, it can really help you and help you reframe your self-talk. And if you're an empath like me, I do want to suggest one more thing. I do read daily passages supplied from Thriving as an Empath by Judith Orloff, who's an MD, and she has incredible things on being an empath. So if you're new to what an empath is, or you're wondering what it is, I would highly suggest there. And basically, empath is people who can feel and sense everyone's energy and can feel other people's feelings in the room. We have a good sense of energy awareness, if you will. I'm probably not giving the right example, but that's what I think an empath is. So I hope these tips were helpful in some way, and I hope that you can incorporate them into your daily life and just into any coping strategy. That way we can overcome the anger and lead much happier and healthy lives. Because remember, it's never too late to learn new coping skills and to develop a positive relationship with our emotions, especially ones that don't fit our structure. And remember, it's okay to restructure every day and adapt and mold them differently to each one. Remember to move like water. Try not to resist or get frustrated by the rocks in the way, but find a way to flow around them. Because letting go of our emotions, particularly those as powerful as anger, can be a difficult process. However, it's very necessary in our step, especially towards personal growth and emotional well-being. Our other approach is accepting anger and accepting our emotions just how they are. We acknowledge their presence without judgment or resistance. So as I said before, don't resist the rocks in the way, just adapt and move around them. So don't get angry that you're angry either, okay? Just allow it, accept the anger to happen. And it'll help allow any need to control. And it'll also help, that way you don't suppress your emotions. And that can also just lead to more intense and negative feelings the more you suppress. So make sure you don't suppress. Because acceptance also allows us to gain that perspective on our emotions and understand them with more full intensity. We can recognize the underlying issues that are causing our anger and then acknowledge it and how it affects us. And then we can take steps to healing and towards our growth. So in our next episode, we'll dive deeper into the topic of accepting and letting go of our negative emotions. We'll explore the ways in which our bodies hold on to the emotional trauma and hold this and how this can impact our overall well-being and even just in the long term of our physical health. We'll discuss practical techniques for releasing those negative emotions and promoting healing, such as practicing forgiveness, both for ourselves and others, the role of gratitude and positive self-talk, and we will continue promoting an overall just emotional well-being and pushing towards healing and our self-growth. So join us next week as we explore the fascinating connection between our emotions and our physical bodies. Until then, I want to personally thank all of you for tuning in to today's 2-part episode on the power and pitfalls of anger. We hope that you found this discussion insightful and that you gained some new tools for managing your emotions in a healthy way. If you enjoyed this episode, please consider subscribing to our podcast, following us on YouTube, and or leaving us a review. I would love your feedback. It's super valuable to me as I strive to create content that is both informative and engaging. So I appreciate all your support and look forward to bringing you more discussions on personal growth and emotional well-being in our next episode. As always, I appreciate you all for being here and thank you for listening. Remember, you're worthy, you're capable, and go kick today's ass, you warriors, you.